Mark to jump on. I've just done a quick intro for you guys on WhatsApp. Mark, give me a sec. Mate, jump on. Okay, let's get started.
Easy, I'll bring everyone in that's there. Okay. Hey guys, how we doing?
Hello. Here we are. Done. What do we got here? Hey Phoebe. Hey Jeff.
Sometimes we end up with more note takers these days on a call than people.
Well, you need a note taker for the note taker. Perfect. You got 7 others here too. Let's have a look. Well, they're all note takers. So what do you see on here on your grid?
There you go. A few more in.
Yeah, everyone, that's cool. It's more my Kim, I'll get you to do the group shot later if you can too.
Yeah,
just
easy.
Kick off. Perfect. Aaron's on. We're going to start in about 1 minute.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Perfect. All right, guys. Happy Monday. Hope everything's going well. Maybe put in the chat there what's so awesome about your Monday. We'd love to hear. Shout out a couple of answers. Kim will shout out a couple of answers. We've got a chat box on this.
Yeah. I know this is not the same as your normal Zoom, but bottom right-hand corner, guys, looks like a messenger icon.
Oh, yeah. Just a few.
Okay. How's your Monday?
Oh, yeah, I see that little one there. Yeah.
Win for the day. Got a cortisone injection in the knee for Ashley. Nice. That's a win.
Perfect. All right, well, let's get started. So, Kim, I'll get you to do a quick group shot if you can. So, guys, if we can just get a quick smile, please.
Yeah.
Go ready. 1, 2, and 3.
There we go. Hang on, guys. Boom. There we go.
Fantastic. So, yep, it's my job here to officially welcome you to our Lux Ads Masterclass, driven and produced by Kim Barrett. So, Kim Barrett runs Your Social Voice over in Perth. This guy's a global name. I said to him before, I said, are you getting nervous about your 30-plus attendees? And he said no, because he's running a 450-plus event in the morning, and he just ran an 850 event last week. So I think Kim might know his way around meta ads and AI. But I want to say personally that I've been dealing with Kim now for close to probably 8 years. I mean, some of his ads that are still running, which are a little bit younger, a little bit more handsome. But he's done a lot of my sales before I even started up Houseland Co. So I met him initially years ago. He was doing my sales and marketing. We've remained friends over the years. He's been in the background when I've needed him for social media. Obviously, he's produced, runs master classes and classes all over Australia. Typically, he's either speaking on stage or doing some coaching one-to-one. But he's been a brand partner and been a believer in Lux since day one. So he's come in and volunteers this time here. So it's very hard to get his phone number, but if you want to spend a lot of money, you certainly can. But typically, tonight he's just going to run you through the meta lead generation playbook for 2026. He actually gives away a lot of information, which is good. So obviously take your notepad. So get your water, get your notepads, get ready to go. But welcome to the stage, Kim.
Thank you, good sir. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks everyone for tuning in and joining me. Depending on where you are in Australia, I know it could be a little bit later, could be early yet, still in Perth. Probably haven't had your first beer yet, which is fine. But excited to be here with you guys. So I said for the next hour or so, really want to go down and break through how you can generate more leads online when it comes to Meta. Now, the reason why I personally choose Meta, and I'd love to know as well, let me know in the chat if you guys are running ads currently, if you're using Meta. But for me, number one, it's the cheapest platform, like by a country mile. And number two, it is still the most targetable. You can do the most with it. You can run ads on LinkedIn. You can run ads on Google. You can run ads on TikTok. You can put ads wherever you like. But to me, it is still the best for small business. There are some caveats. There are some asterisks where, you know, Meta is kind of not in our favor from that perspective, but I want to show you guys how can we make things in our favor? How can we ensure that, you know, we are, as small businesses, getting the best outcome possible for ourselves? So that's what I'll share with you guys tonight in the next hour or so. There will be a recording. I'll give you guys the slides and everything like that as well. So as I said, take notes and ask questions, but if anything does pop up and you're like, oh, you know, I really wanted to see that, or, you know, go back a slide, don't worry. I've got you covered. You'll get all of that in the replay coming out either later tonight or first thing tomorrow. So let's jump in. Now, this is for you if you guys, as I said, people that work in property, investors, developers, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, buyers agents, if you've got a service-based business, really anyone running ads. Now, some of these strategies, if you're someone who sells like e-commerce products, which I don't think is as many of you, if you were someone in that category, it's not to say that what I'm going to share doesn't work for that as well, but this has really been honed in on these kind of three key areas. We now, on average, run anywhere from between $3 and $5 million in ad spend per month under all the accounts that we manage. So we get a lot of data and we get a lot of insights. We also have 400 plus ad accounts that we are connected to that we see the data from the ins and outs every single day. So most people just aren't exposed to that amount of information that we are. So that's why we can kind of give you these breakdowns and help you understand, number one, how can you make it work better for your business? Or number two, how can you make some adjustments? If you're already getting some good success, like how can you make some adjustments and improve it from there too? So even if you're just starting out, it doesn't really matter which side of the fence you're on. We'll help you guys get the most out of it. But just so I know as well, just drop in the chat. Is anyone, just give me a yes if you are running ads right now, and a no, I suppose, if you're not, just so I know kind of where everyone's at from their experience. Just in here. No, Ashley's not running. No, Aaron's not. Not now, but have done. Okay, awesome. No. All right, well, hopefully I'm going to turn a few of those no's to yeses by the end of this for you guys to have some goals and aspirations to push some ads out there. Steve's pumping it. Awesome. As I said, we're going to show you guys, it doesn't matter if you're running $5 a day, $50 a day, $500 a day, we'll show you guys the right strategies to be able to implement and deploy so that you can get better outcomes. And if you're not running ads, hopefully by the end of this, you'll have some ideas on how to. Now, the structure and strategies I'm going to share don't just apply to Meta ads. This is any advertising, direct response marketing. It does not really matter. Any and all of those things are 100% like going to be similar, going to be 100% relevant, because there's only 3 pieces of any advertising puzzle. And I'll talk to you guys about that in just a little bit. Just going to make sure that everyone's getting it in. So let's jump in. What we're going to go through is the ad structure to help you generate quality leads right now. Not like what might work, what worked in the past, like as of 25th of May, 2026, what works. A 3-target retargeting sequence that you can build this week. Basically a follow-up system that helps double your conversion rates from traffic that you're already paying for. Scaling system. As I said, it doesn't matter if you're going from $5 to $50, $50 to $500 a day. How do we do that without making the costs go up? Because unfortunately, what everyone says is like, hey, Kim, I'm getting, $30 a lead. Can't I just spend $100 or $200 now and it stay the same? Unfortunately not, right? As you start to increase your spend, your costs can go up because Meta is an auction system. So what that means is like everyone's competing for the same audience. And it's just like having an auctioneer in the house where everyone's raising their paddles. The more people bid, the more people want to buy, higher the price goes. People want leads for their business, price goes up and up and up. So what you really need to understand is how to scale properly so that if you do want to start, putting a little bit of extra money into your ads, how can you do that without just burning through your credit card and then being very sad at the end of the month? So why listen to us? Steve gave a little bit of an intro, but just in case you guys don't know, my company called Your Social Voice, we're one of the leading social media lead generation and AI companies in Australia. We've managed now over $10 million in spend across the last 12 months. On average, probably close to 50. We've generated over 300 million plus in revenue for clients that we can track. And we run campaigns generating thousands of leads every single month. So on average, give or take on 2,500 to 3,000 plus per leads for our core clients. For our secondary clients that we consult with as well, you could probably add an extra 20,000 plus leads per month that we help manage and build processes for from that perspective, because we've got some guys that are spending crazy amounts of money, which has its own pros and cons. These days, it's actually easier. This is going to sound weird. It's actually easier to manage a lot of spend than it is a little bit of spend. So if you're starting out with $10 or $20 a day, it actually is quite hard in comparison to what it used to be, versus now if you're spending 10, 20, 50, 100 grand a month on ads, it's actually much easier. It's probably the easiest sort of campaign to run. The smaller campaigns are where it's tough. And that's basically why I do what I do, is to help people understand for their businesses, how can they still get a good result without, blowing the top off their spend. So as I said, we're going to show you not just theory, but like what's working right now from the accounts that we manage. How can you get the best results possible from that? And again, this is not stuff that is theory from a couple years ago. It's right now. And if you guys have questions as we're going through, I'll do my best to answer. Just drop them in the chat and I'll do my best to kind of answer as we go through those as well. So most of the time when we're looking at the results that we can help people generate, it's not that they aren't already getting good results. It's that we need to help optimize them. So a couple of examples from this, we had a property investment firm in Perth. They were on average paying about $80, $85 cost per lead. We were able to bring that down to $14.20 cost per lead in the matter of about 6 weeks. We generated about 300 plus leads in that period. They got 14 settlements from that. Mortgage broker over in Sydney, their cost per lead was sitting around $65. Again, we were able to bring that down in the space of about 6 weeks to $21. They tripled their pipeline, 180K in new commissions attributed to Meta ads. And then for coaching businesses as well, 347% increase in ROI in the first 90 days, 2.1 million revenue from Meta campaigns themselves, full NOC funnel implementation, which is what I'm going to give you guys if anyone hears me speak ever, I love acronyms. I'll teach you guys some of my acronyms today. And we're able to take them from $50 a day to $800 a day profitably. Now, as I said, these all depend on making sure that you've got the right things in place. Because if you just start going out and trying to start spending, sometimes it cannot be a good time. But this is also just to show you that if you do these things properly, your results will kind of flow through. You'll be able to decrease those costs or get more leads, which means you can either pay less, decrease your spend, or you can have more potential clients. You can speak to more people for the same amount of money. So that's what the framework that we're going to go through today has been able to achieve. And hopefully some of you guys will take it, run with it, and be able to achieve something similar. So what we're going to go through is like, number one, what's the big kind of problem currently with Meta? What stopped working? And what's the fundamental change from last year to this year? Then we're going to go through the NOC method. This is the 4-part framework behind every single campaign that we run for clients that I ever talk to anyone about. Works. Then we'll go through the funnel system, and then we'll basically bring tonight to a close. And hopefully you guys have got some amazing takeaways that you can go and implement, or you'll want to go through and actually run some ads yourselves. That's the goal. So no fluff. We're just going to kind of dive right into the deep end before you guys. So why have ads stopped working? If you've been running them in the past, some people have had experience where their costs have gone up, number of leads have gone down. Why is that the case? It's not anything to do with your budget. It's the system that you're using. And I say it's not creative, but sometimes the creative can actually be a part of it too now, because the system that Meta has deployed has changed the game completely different. So if we go back to like 2020, that's when realistically back then you can put up an ad, you can put together some good copy, a photo or an image, and you can roll it out, and you could be real specific with the interests and the audiences that you targeted. So I could find like homeowners that lived in Melbourne that might have a certain level of income. I could target small business owners that had a certain level, and Meta supported that. They wanted us to use that process. So we have an advertising rep from Meta that every quarter tells us what's working, what's not. The only problem with that, right, is like, that's great and amazing to have access to. As I said that, but the bad part is, number one, you've got to be spending like $3 million a month in ads to get access to them. Number two is that they tell you what's happened at the end of the quarter. right? So if you're a small business owner like we all are, we want to get results today. As things change, even the people inside of Meta don't know what's happening until the end of the period. Then they go, oh, all this amazing stuff happened. And we're like, well, why didn't you tell us that before? Very similarly, we're seeing that happen this year, as happens every year. And everyone goes, oh, like, do you ever get tired of running ads and doing that sort of stuff? And I say, no, because every day something completely different could happen, right? You've got to keep you on your toes. So I've always got to be paying attention to what's happening. Then what we saw, if anyone else remembers, back 2022, they rolled out iOS 14. That's basically where everyone's privacy came much more into play. Good for the consumer, good for the user, right, of Meta. Not so good for people like us running ads for our businesses, because what happened? Attribution, which basically meant saying, hey, this ad generated this lead or inquiry, died off. Because a lot of the tracking, or a lot of the browsers said, hey, we're not going to send the information back. Because everything that you want to have happen, everything that you want to have and be successful when it comes to marketing, is there needs to be a full feedback loop. So from start to finish, there needs to be a flow. That means that if I run an ad over here and they come in and make an inquiry in your business, for that advertisement to actually be effective, we need to send back the information from you to the advertising platform and say, hey, this is what happened. As soon as iOS 14 came out, that kind of killed that a little bit. I'm going to say a little bit, like for some people, it was a lot. But that is now what we need to look at, is going, if we're going to have that, and now we have the benefit of AI, and you guys probably can't really see it because it's like super bright in my house because it's nighttime now, but this literally says ads and AI. The reason why AI is important in advertising these days is because we can use AI to feed that data back into Meta, to let it know who are the people that are purchasing from us, who is our actual most ideal audience. And that's really what we want to see. We really want to be able to tap into who that ideal audience is. Because as I said, after what happened in 2024, we had the sky is falling moment again, where Meta said, hey, we don't want you to use targeting anymore. We want you just to run your ads broadly. We just want you to go out and like promote them out to anyone, and we'll figure out where to go. Will you start to use our AI to figure out if this person's right for it, if this audience is right for what it is that you do? And unfortunately, it didn't work that well, right, for a lot of people. So now Meta's big advocacy is for using AI to drive delivery. So Meta would go, hey, actually, you know what? Give me all of your images, give me all of your copy, give me all of the words to tell people about how amazing your business is, and we'll go and run that and find the right people for you. Now, again, if you have a big budget, works really well. Apart from the fact that there's, I've got a story I'll tell you guys if we have enough time about the other week, how Meta cost us, one of my clients, $8,000 by doing this wrong. But if you can have a big enough budget, if you've got $15,000, $20,000, $50,000 a month in spend, absolutely use Meta's AI to drive results and just plug all of your creative in there. Because if that's the case, it can chew through $100, $200 in a day to find the right portion of audience. If your budget is only $100 a day, it becomes a lot harder to find the right audience, because it's trying to chew through that to find a good audience for you. If it doesn't do it, you spend $100. Next day, it's got to start again. Right, so you can see how that becomes a very expensive learning curve, rather than being able to feed in the right information and finding it to the right audience first. That's a little bit more effective. Hence why you've still got to have that balance. You've got to try and placate and do what Meta wants you to do. Give them, feedback, use their AI, all that fun stuff, and still tap into what's going to be most effective for you as a business owner, what's going to be most cost effective from that side of things too. Otherwise, you're not going to have a good time. So realistically, Meta wants you to use all of their AI because they want it trained. Essentially, we're having to pay, right, to help train to make Meta better at the moment, because it's not as good as it should be, because they don't have the data, because we're the ones that run ads. We all run ads. We grow our businesses. They've got to get the information from us. So it becomes a little bit of a cat and mouse where, we unfortunately sometimes end up being the mouse. So the 3 reasons why most ads ever underperform is, number 1, because the wrong targeting is used. Now, as I said, if your budget is small or you're just starting out, I still recommend going for small target audiences. Because if we're going to spend money, we may as well try and be as effective with it as possible. But if you're at the 100, 200, 300 plus, dollars a day, what we're looking for really is behavioral and lookalike signals. They're really the most important things. Now, what I mean by that is behavior is like, what actions do people take? So let's just say, for example, you were someone who generated phone inquiries, right? Phone inquiries for you to call up, to have a conversation with, to maybe book a meeting, go and see them in person, chat to them over the phone. What happens? Number one, a lead comes in. Number two, they either do or they do not book a call. Now, if you book a call, they either do or they do not show up. If they show up, they either maybe progress, say no, or you've got to follow up later. So think about all of the stages of how you actually have a conversation with a prospective client. They are your behavioral signals. That's the information that Meta really wants. Because if you go, hey, I want leads, you will get all the leads that you want. If you go, hey, I want booked appointments, you'll get all of the booked appointments that you want. If you go, I want booked appointments that show up and go to the next stage, you've got to give all that information back to Meta. So I said at the very beginning is you've got to have that closed loop. Otherwise, if it's open, right, and you don't actually have an endpoint, it's not going to be a good time because Meta doesn't know who you want and they'll give you whoever they can get their hands on. So what we want to do there is stop fighting with the algorithm and use it for our favor. So we want to try and plug in who our ideal audience is, right? Whether that be from lookalikes or still from doing some base level interest targeting. Then number two, we need to be able to feed back that information to Meta going, cool, if someone inquires, if someone takes the first step, what's the next step that's most valuable to us? And that's the information we've got to pass back to Meta. And that's where sometimes a bit of AI comes into play. Sometimes it just means we've just got to connect things up properly. Because if there's not a full feedback loop, where it's basically like having a leaky bucket, right? We can still keep putting water in, but a lot of stuff is coming out the bottom. And that's where we want to catch as much as we can so that we're feeding back the right information and we're not losing things. The next is offer and creative mismatch, right? What stopped the scroll in 2022 gets ignored in 2026. Scroll behaviors change, attention spans have shortened, right? Creative and offer formula that used to work is not the same. Does anyone want to go a little pop quiz? Does anyone want to hazard a guess at how long you have to grab someone's attention when it comes to an ad, them scrolling past? Does anyone want to take a shot and see how long do you reckon it is that you've got to make an impression? Zero 0.3, 0.6, 0.5. Whoa, you guys are quick off the bat. 15, 2 seconds. Kylie's cheated because she knows the answer already. But it's 1.7 seconds you have. You've got 1.7 seconds to grab their attention. So about that, right? Very, very quick, right? 4 minutes. I wish we had 4 minutes. If I had 4 minutes to get anyone's attention, geez. All right. 4 minutes, I tell you. But that is really where you need to make sure that you're focusing is like whatever people see first, that's what they're going to make their decision on, right? And I remember I asked like one of my mentors, he was like the best, he was the son of the best ever to have lived copywriter, a guy called Gary Halbert. And I asked him a question. I was like, how long should my video be? How long should an ad be, to make it really effective? And he's like, all right, that's a good question, Kim. He said, look, there's no such thing as too long or too short, just too boring. And I was like, okay, savage, but sure. And he's like, think about it. If someone goes to watch, Avengers Endgame or a movie like that, where it's like a big thriller where you're stuck on the edge of your seat the whole time, you're probably not going to the bathroom in the middle of that time. You're stuck. You're locked in your seat. You're sitting there. You're waiting all the way to the end. But if a terrible TikTok or a terrible video or a terrible reel or a terrible ad pops up, you flick past it straight away. So there's no such thing as too long or too short. It's just too boring. And again, most people in the first 1.7 seconds of an ad, they treat it like a conversation. You can't treat it like you're having a conversation with someone that you've just met, right? You can't treat it like you're going to a lovely Lux event and being like, hey, how you doing? My name's Kim. Nice to meet you. They're gone. The video, you've got to treat it different because everyone wants to know what's in it for them. And also, is it actually for me? Like, is this something that's relevant to me? I also want to know what's in it for me, but is this actually for me? Because otherwise they're going to go, hey, this is an ad that has no relevance to me. I'm moving on past. So in that first 1.7 seconds, you've got to tick those 2 boxes at least. Right. And that's why you need to make sure that you're creative in what you're looking to offer. You know, if you're looking for a consult, whatever it might be, you've got to make sure that that matches to your audience pretty quickly. Otherwise, as I said, they're going to shoot on by. And that's when you start to see costs go up, expenses per lead go up, your CPMs, which is basically the universal advertising metric, goes up higher and higher because they're trying to show it to the right audience, but they don't know if it's for them or not. And then lastly, no system, right? Just isolated campaigns, which I see most of the time people have is like when they go into ad account review for them, they got one campaign sitting in the ad account, targeting one thing, maybe one doing another. That's not a strategy, right? That's just a ad set, an ad campaign, an audience. We want to make sure that we've got a cold to warm flow through for the funnel, right? We want to make sure that we take people, we introduce ourselves, we get to know them, and then we offer them our products and services. We're not just trying to go straight to, you know, walking up to the bar and asking a lady to go home with you. We want to make sure we introduce ourselves, say hi first, right? Do a little bit of a dance, make sure that we've got that connection first and foremost. Because again, you're paying to reach people once and then never following up is what most people do. They go, oh, yep, cool, $20, get a lead, then never follow up with them on social media. They might email and SMS and try and call them, but that means that we're leaving over 80% of people on the table, right? Sitting there that we could warm up for a little bit, like I'm talking like a little bit more money, not much more, but for a few dollars more, we could actually be warming them up and taking them further on the journey with us. And that's what you want to make sure you've got an actual system, not just going, cool, I've got an ad campaign set up, yay. We want to make sure that it all flows together. As I said, it's all got to tie back in. There's got to be a like a circle of life there, right? So every month that you do it the old style changes things up. So here are kind of 5 key areas that you want to look at. Is number 1, what on average is your cost per lead? All right, these are the metrics that you always want to look at. Number 2, what is your lead quality like? Right? Is it low quality or high quality? And this is basically what I'm showing you guys and saying you guys here is like, how do we transition from one to the other, depending on what's working and what's not? Retargeting. Are you, trying to do pixel-based retargeting? Are you trying to hopefully bring people back, or are you not bringing them back at all? Probably where most people kind of fall, right? And then scaling. Are you able to increase by 20%? That's the rule, and I'll tell you guys why that's the rule in a little bit. But are you able to increase that and horizontally scale, which means that like you can predictably increase it and not go, oh, I've increased it, but then it's costing me $100 a lead. It's staying at that same price. And are you able to generate the number of leads that you want every single month? Because as I said, there's a big gap between the old and new way of doing things. If you can do it the new way, it's going to be much more effective. Because if you're still trying to do it the old way, then as I said, it just means that it's going to be harder for you to grow. Harder for you to push things forward. And look, you still might be able to, but with everything that Meta has coming down the pipelines, based on what they're saying they're hoping to roll out, it's going to become more and more difficult for you. Hence why like getting onto it now and taking advantage of it now is much better. So as I said, opportunity for now has never been bigger, right? There's 3.27 billion active daily users across Meta's platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp. So it doesn't matter which one of those you want to market on. They're the core 4, right? Property, financial services audiences are some of the most active. Australia ad costs, generally speaking, compared to the US and UK, can be a little bit lower depending on the audience that you're going for. And most of your competitors are probably still running the old playbook, right? Which means that adapting now gives you a bit more of an advantage than them because they're probably not listening to this masterclass right now. They're probably not sitting here thinking about this and making sure that they do all of the things I'm going to show you guys. So I said, if people are still doing that, you can literally take this in the next 90 days, either completely flip your ad strategy around and make it even more effective or better than it is right now, or you can launch yourself in 90 days and really have something up and running. Because I know some of you guys aren't running ads yet, which is absolutely fine. But this will hopefully give you some thoughts on if you're going to. I said, I would, the best time, they always said, when's the best time to run ads, right? The most effective answer is 2 months ago. The next best answer is today, right? Because it takes time for your ad campaigns to get up and get working. So you want to make sure that you get them rocking and rolling as soon as you can. So the framework that I recommend, so there's 4 pillars to it, one system, which is basically called the NOC method. which stands for niche, offer, copy, and creative. This 4-part framework, pretty much any campaign, doesn't matter if it's Meta, TV, radio, all goes through the same sort of framework if it's effective, right? This is taken from the old school days of all the direct response guys when they didn't have like video ads that they could run, right? They had to literally post you something in the mail, get you to open it, to then read it, to then take up an offer, right? The very, very old school direct response style. So if you can now adapt that to what works, in 2026, not 1926, this is how you can make things very, very effective. So what does it stand for? And how do we kind of tie these things in a little bit together? So niche is first and foremost, who are we targeting? As I said, in 2026, behavioral signals are most important. The tighter that we can build our initial audience and also let them know, like, what are the behavioral signals that our audience is doing? What are they actually taking up? What are they going to? What are they looking at? We want to know as much of that as humanly possible. We don't want to just try and target everyone. Because what happens is every single person, and if any of you guys were at the Lux event, I think it was last year, the 100-person event that Steve put on, I got everyone to this activity where they took out their phones and swapped it around and had a look. Every single person, even though they might be similar industries, similar goals and aspirations, had a completely customized newsfeed, right? As would every single one of you. So if everyone has a customized newsfeed that is specifically personalized to them, why would you go and put out a general ad and not target it to someone specifically? Because everything else that they see is hyper personalized to them. So we want to make sure that anything that we put out as well pulls apart those behavioral structures, those signals, and feeds that data back into Meta, into what they're looking for. So the next piece of that is O, is your offer. What makes them stop and act? That means that we have to try and solve a specific problem for a specific at a specific moment in time. That's kind of the goal that we're looking for there. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that if we're going to put something out there, we can't just be like, hey, like for example, make money with property. Hey, save money with this, right? Grow your whatever, grow your hair back, whatever it might be. We want to be very specific to who it is going to be for, right? Just saying, hey, book a call versus giving someone something of value, it's not going to be as effective. So if you've got something where you can go, hey, I've got a specific guide for you on people in this area on property investment and how they're making XYZ number of returns, or I've got something for you for this person to help solve this initial problem that you have, and it's here in a free report, in a free video, whatever it might be, that is going to be more effective than just going straight to, hey, book a call. Now, there is still a portion of the marketplace that wants to do that. Right? There is still a portion. So at any one point in time, there's only 2% of the overall market, 2 to 5%, that actually want to do something right now. Which means the other 95 to 98% need a bit of convincing, need a bit of thinking, need a bit of time. Now you can still run ads and only target that 2 to 5% if you want, but that's when it then becomes much more expensive. That's when you'll start to see that, hey, it's a bit hard to navigate, a bit hard to push through. And what you're going to want to do is, like actually include something that adds value to people rather than, hey, just get a call. Because again, you'll get a small portion of people that want to do that, but the rest, they want a bit more. They want a bit more love. They want a bit more value. They want a bit more something for them to sink their teeth into. The next part of the NOC is copy. What words can we use to drive a click? Because the only objective of an ad is to get someone to click on it, right? Some people go, oh, but my ad's meant to like help me get leads or sell my product or service. It's like, that's not the goal of your ad. Your ad's goal is just to get someone to click, right? People don't just go, oh, let me read this ad. They look to see, hey, is this relevant to me? That's what they're scanning for, is that relevance. Hence why the first line is what we're really looking for, is to grab someone's attention. They know it's for them. So a very simple formula that you can use for that, as I said, this is on the slides, which you guys will get, but if you wanted to write this down, you want to use what I like to call the 3-line hook formula. Pattern interrupt, agitate their pain, promise their solution. So basically, pattern interrupt is grab someone to grab their attention, agitate their pain, talk about the thing that everyone else is thinking, and then be like, hey, how can you help them solve it? If you just use that and thought about that when you go and run your next ad or your first ad or look at creating a new ad or a new video, be way, 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 way easier for you to get people to come through, and that's done in 1.7 seconds. Quick, right? And again, our creative, what stops the scroll, that's got to grab their attention as well. That's going to do the first 1 second. Copy's going to do the next 0.7. And what you want to look at is applying what I like to call the thumb stop test, like thumb stoppability. How stoppable is your ad? Now, if you looked at your ad and if you covered a little bit of it and you went, hey, I'm going to cover the logo, I'm going to cover what it is that I'm saying that I'm going to give them, would they know what this ad's about? Would they be able to tell just by looking at it? If not, might need to start again, right? If someone can't go, actually, let me just kind of like, what are we actually talking about here? And it isn't most the case. And like, this is where you'll start to see, unfortunately, a lot of people produce what some of my friends and I are calling AI slop, where they go into a chat GPT or something like that and they go, hey, make me an ad image for this. And you get it and you're like, this is kind of terrible, right? And you see it pop up in ads. You see it pop up when there's all this extra text all over it and there's all this stuff. And it's like, you don't actually know what it is. You may as well be reading off of a flyer someone stuck up at the local supermarket, because there's no actual context or info, or it's not really clear on what it is, and I've got to read it all. And if I've got to sit there and read it all, it's going to take more than 1.7 seconds. So you want to make sure that you're not just putting something out there because it's like, oh, I want to create, something creative. And this is why as well, like I'm a big advocate of, like Steve joked at the beginning, it's like I use his videos. That's because I love using video. Right, Steve's probably been viewed 400,000 times just off one of my ads around Australia. But the reason why I like to do that is because I can grab someone in 1.7 seconds on a video. But if they watch it and then they listen to it, they're going to retain it much more than just scrolling past an image. And now in the world of AI and AI things being produced, what happens is people are already starting to go, oh, is this AI or not? Like they're starting to already identify, which is very easy to see sometimes, something that's been made by AI. Hence why I like to use real people, right? I like to use myself in as many of my ads as possible, because I want people to go, oh, that's that Kim guy. And they build that resonance with me. And I'm not going to look like AI is going to look. I'm not picture perfect by any means. I've got furrows in my brow and, crow's feet under my eyes and bags from being tired and all that sort of stuff. What a human looks like, right? Versus AI with its pristine video view, it's not going to be the same. So what you want to do is make sure is like, if you can and are capable of and are happy to, do video, because it's going to set you up for success in the future too. As more and more AI gets produced, it gets better at producing. People are going to want to look for realness. They're going to want to look for real human beings. So if you can do it now, hey, much better than doing it later. So as I said, the N is for niche. We want to target people who will behave like your buyers do. So a lot of times people go, oh, how can I find those people? Well, if you do any sort of posting, any sort of creative things on social media, anywhere, when I say creative, like you post stories, you post images, reels, or whatever it might be, and you're not targeting people that engage with you, that is an immediate quick win. Right? An immediate quick win, because we can use that to start to build our layers. We can start to build our intent. So for example, one of the ones we did for the property guys in Perth that I told you guys about at the beginning, that were able to decrease their cost, right? We didn't want to just target people that were interested in property. We wanted to target people who behaved like the most ideal clients. So they would probably be engaged in interesting property content. They would also have similar perspectives, similar approaches, similar views to our most ideal audience. So what we would normally do is do it as layers. So we'd have a layer of people that are interested in that content. Then we'd have a layer of people that look like, right, hence the term, look-alike audience, that look like, have the same characteristics, have the same sort of behaviors as our ideal client. Because we've everyone in here, hopefully has had clients in the past, right? Unless you're launching a new business. If you've had clients in the past, give that information to Meta. Give that data to Meta. Let Meta know who your ideal audience is. Then it can take it and start to optimize, improve, and figure out who they are. And then we can also do things like exclude existing audience, exclude recent people that you've already had a conversation with. Because again, there's no point in running ads and getting your ideal audience that is actually your existing client to opt in again, because it's going to be a waste of money for you, because they're already in your ecosystem and they already love you and trust you enough to do business with you. May as well exclude them. So if we do that, we're again honing our audience, we're finding those ideal people, and we're taking out the people that we've already paid for. Because again, one of the things that always kind of like shocks me with people is like they keep running ads to the same people that have seen their ads, and they keep going, oh, these same people keep opting in again. It's like, well, what do you think they're going to do, right? You keep showing them your ads, they're still going to keep popping in. So if you want to get the best bang for buck, excluding them just means that you lower your audience size, and you take out those people already in your ecosystem, because that's the next part of the funnel that you've got to use and optimize. O is for offer, right? What makes them stop and act? Free consultation, contact us today, learn more about our services, blah, right? A little bit vanilla, a bit too plain Jane. What we want to do is look at how can we make a strong offer with low CPO but high intent, right? For example, free 2026 Perth suburb growth report, growth guide, specific problem, specific person, specific moment, immediate value. 5 questions every property investor must ask before buying, right? Positions you as the expert before a single call. You're the one that people want to turn to. Oh, where's that document I had from that person that was talking about this, right? And downloads like free first home buyer checklist, timely, tangible, qualifies intent immediately. Because basically, if you create something for people to download, if you create an offer to have a conversation with someone, it's got to be relevant to them. Each one of these kind of calls out who the person is. So again, they can see straight away, is this for me? Is this relevant? Rather than just hoping, right? Because again, generic offer gets generic results. More specific, it's going to be much better. Much, much better. C is for copy. Again, that hook line formula I mentioned before. Pattern interrupt, call out the audience, make a bold claim if you want to, unexpected claim, force them to stop scrolling because it feels like it was written specifically to them. Agitate the pain. There's already a problem that they have. I like to call it like rubbing the salt or twisting the knife, where it's like, cool, they already know and they feel like there's a problem, but they haven't actually solved it yet. If you can name it precisely, make them feel seen, this is where you'll build trust in that first 2 seconds. And then promise a solution. Like, what are they specifically going to get? Don't be ambiguous. If it's a training, if it's a video, you can still go to a call if you want to, but make it specific to the outcome that you want to try and attract. Right? Specific always beats vague. Download our 2026 suburb report, beats learn more every time. So for example, general stuff. Are you interested in property investment? We help people grow their wealth through property. Book a free consultation with our team today. Very generic versus specificity. Attention Perth property investors. This suburb support is free for the next 48 hours only. Most investors are buying in the wrong suburbs while smart money quietly moves to the 5 high growth pockets most people haven't heard of yet. Download our free report before your competition does. A little bit more specific. Qualifies who they are. Are they actively looking to buy? What sort of market are they going to be in, right? They're looking for a deal, looking for opportunity. All of those things are kind of pre-cooked into that hook, that conversation that we're having with them. We're not just hoping that they kind of come across it. We know that they already have the details, the insights to be able to do so. So creative, what's working in 2026. And I said, my personal recommendation is you in this. If you are your business or your brand, if you're not, someone else is fine. But if you are your business, your brand, ideally, if it's video, it's you. But lowest performing, again, still works, but static images, that's kind of like your lowest benchmark. That's going to be, like I said, not most ideal, but still works. Secondary is short video, 15 to 30 seconds. Very, very good for brand awareness, retargeting, running ads back to your ideal audience, getting them integrated in what it is that you do. First 2 seconds, hook, no exceptions, right? Has to be done. Designed for no sound. Now, one of the things I see most people do, the biggest thing if you're running ads or doing any sort of content or creative, is they don't put captions on. Grinds my gears. Because there is 75% of people in the world that have a phone, watch it, and they have it on silent. Which means that if they start scrolling and then you go, you start talking and you've got no captions on your video, right? You're going to lose them instantly because they're going to have no idea, unless they're the world's best lip reader, right? They're not going to have no idea as to what it is that you're talking about. So you want to make sure that you've got captions on there. You put your hook of what you want to talk about on there straight away, right? Because again, otherwise you're losing them. And I can't tell you how many people I see do a great video. They worry all this stuff about how crisp their audio is and how amazing their lighting is. And then they have no captions. I'm like, it's wasted, right? It's a wasted opportunity. So if you can do that, as I said, it works very, very well. And then the best one that we see working currently is either UGC, which stands for user generated content. So if you're someone who works with a lot of clients, having your clients talk about you, talk about your product or service, number one is super, super effective. Or you yourself, right? And that's where you can go. And that's where you would run ads for your warm audience. It warms them up. Service-based businesses work so well. It's authentic, low production, high trust. It looks like organic content. That's exactly why it works, because it looks organic. It looks natural. Conversion rates, generally speaking, are also the highest. You can see that's why it says conversion rate is the highest. From that format, you will generate the most sales. I can almost guarantee that without being able to guarantee it. That's where that always happens, because people then have no like and trust with you. They know that you're a real person. That's what everyone's looking for. And if they've gone through everything else, it works. And as I said, if you really want to double check it, would a stranger know what your ad's about in 1 second? If you covered off your logo and covered off free something or other, like, can we tell straight away? That's what we want to look at. And then that's what we want to see. We want to see, can we stop and get their attention? So in action, this is an exact screenshot of, if you wanted to take a screenshot of or download in the slides later, what we would do to implement, for example, as I mentioned before, property investment lead gen. What we were able to do first, what we did and started with, was a lookalike of past leads that purchased, not just leads that inquired, but purchased. Then we also layered in people that visited the website, video views. We excluded their existing audience. So we dialed it in very, very tight and specific, right? Engagement, but also tied in those behavioral signals of people that actually purchase. Then the offer. We looked at what are the top 5 suburbs for capital growth, and we put together a Perth suburb growth report. Because again, obviously that means we are targeting the Perth market. They want to invest in Perth, hence why we want to grab their attention. It was very short. It doesn't have to be crazy. It was literally a suburb analysis that had data that they had already put together. High perceived value, zero friction, right? What we did in this, we did this as what I would call a 2-step funnel. So the first page just needed your email. Second page, there was an offer to get some support to help you find the right suburb for you to invest in. And that's where we will generate the email. The phone number. So we've got name and email, and then we've got phone number on step number 2. Copy, what did we say? We literally gave it away and we tested it like basically once a week for 48 hours. We ran the ad just to see how effective it was. Then we obviously had to change it after, because it still has to be, legitimate. We don't want to just make stuff up. But we just said, hey, Perth property investors, the suburb report is free for the next 48 hours. Called out the exact audience, agitate it, right? Most investors are still looking at the same 3 suburbs, while smart money quietly moved on. Download before your competition does. So we interrupted their patterns, we agitated it, and then we promised them what they were going to get. They're going to get this report, which is epic compared to what anyone else would give them. We started with a clean static image. Now we've got a video, but we started with a Perth suburb map with orange hot zones, bold headline. We didn't use stock photos. We didn't use AI. We made it ourselves. There's no faces. It was literally a data-driven visual, which immediately communicated what it was, because it just literally looked like hot spots in around Perth. So everyone knew as well, because they know what the map WA looks like, right? That's Perth. Very specific. Passed the thumb stop test in under one second, right? Very quick, fast, and easy. Didn't need a logo on there. Didn't need any extra info, because the visual did the work. Literally, if we're talking about Perth hotspots and you have hotspots on the picture of Perth, hard to kind of get that wrong, right? Pretty specific from that standpoint. But that literally was able to drive costs from nearly $85 down to $14 just by changing up the way in which we talked about it, the audience, the structure, straight away. So, as I said before, the funnel system is what you need to have in place. You can just have one ad if you want to, but that's not a strategy. That's just an ad. You want to have a system that converts a campaign, just guesses, and it hopes that things are going to be right. So what you want to do is a 3-stage process, right? We don't want just a lottery ticket that we hope kind of pays off. We want to make sure that we've got a process to attract cold traffic, warm them up, and then take them to a hot audience. So as I said, 80% of businesses currently just run a campaign, right? 4 out of 5 leads that come through never hear from you again. Because in 2026, not just touch points, but there's more to this, but you need on average 7 to 11 touch points before a lead will convert. They also generally, and this is a general broad brushstroke, need to consume a minimum of 3 hours of you, generally speaking. So let's say you do a consult call with someone and it takes 30, 45 minutes. You got to figure out another 2.5 hours to be able to connect with them before they will convert from that side of things. Hence why if you have multiple touch points before they come into your funnel, before they come into your awareness, you can win, right? So again, a funnel system builds a machine that compounds every month and it helps do that for you. Otherwise, as I said, it's going to be a tough time. So you want to make sure that you're figuring out how can I have multiple touch points? How can I keep them warm and retarget them? And then how can I make sure my audience gets better and better over time? They're the 3 questions that you want to ask yourself from that perspective. So the 3 stages that you have is number 1, cold. They've never seen you before. This is the first time connecting with you. Then you have warm. This is where, like I said before, you're starting to run those more videos of you and things like that as well. And then you've got hot, which is like, 10% of your audience. That's your lookalikes. That's when you're spending most of your money on, right? Because otherwise, what a lot of people do is, you want to spend the vast majority of your final part of your budget on that because that's going to drive it, but it's also the smallest portion of your audience, so it doesn't need as big a budget. Getting cold traffic in, that's what we want to focus on at the beginning. Get people into our world, introduce them to us, warm them up. They know, like, and trust us. Amazing. Then we can offer them what it is that we do rather than just going straight for the kill every single time. So at stage 1, our core goal is getting people in, right? This is where you can go that little bit broader. You're bringing people in, you're getting them to have a conversation with you if you can, or you're getting them to download a guide, you're getting them to download a document, an ebook, whatever it might be. They're coming into your ecosystem, right? We still want to generate leads because we want them to join our CRM. We want to be able to email them. We want to be able to SMS them. We want to be able to have that contact with them. We still need all those pieces of the puzzle. If you can, before you optimize it, you want to run it for at least 7 days, right? And around $30 a day is great. You can definitely do less than that. I've seen people do it with $5, $10 a day. It's choose your own adventure based on your budget, but it's definitely an important piece of the puzzle. This is where, like, the real part of the process is done, which is in retargeting. This is where we warm people up that come through. This is anyone that comes through and touches base with us, interacts with us, goes to our page, jumps onto our website, watches our videos. This is where we want to start to show them and warm them up to who we are. A lot of people, as I said, they just let those guys go. They go to your website, they watch most of your videos, they open your lead forms and they don't submit. They go to the first page of your funnel, right? So many people I see miss those guys, right? It will increase your conversion rates by like 2 to 3 times if you can build this process effectively. Where, again, a lot of people go, but like, what content should I show them and things like that? And I was like, the best way to do it is, like, what are all the objections you get on a sales call? What are all the objections that people give to you for not purchasing your products or services? They're the sorts of videos that you want to show these guys. Put that in front of them, because then by the time you have a conversation with them, they've already heard, like, you've already overcome their objections, right? You've already educated them from that side of things. And the last is your hot audiences. That's your people that already know who you are. They already have been educated about you, right? They behave like your best clients do. That's your lookalike audiences, like I mentioned earlier. That's the people that go, actually, they match all of the criteria that we have talked about so far. They tick all of those boxes. That's where you want to try and invest most of your ad spend and time, if you will. Like, again, we can't go straight there because we need to warm everyone up first. But if we can spend most of our time, energy, and effort focused on these guys, they're going to be the ones that purchase. So when do we scale? When do we start to execute on these things, and when don't we? Number 1 we need to see consistency for at least 7 days. Right, at least 7 days. Ideally, we want a minimum of 50 leads or 50 conversions Why 50? That is the number that Meta has determined that will be the most ideal audience. 50 means that they know who they are, they know where they can find them, they know where they can tap into them. We want to make sure, of course, that our lead quality is high, right? Appointments are being booked in, conversations are being had, it's the right sort of people. And we want to make sure that our relevance score is good as well. That is basically green is good, we continue on. That is where you can increase by a maximum of 20% of our budget. Why 20%? If we go more than 20%, all that hard work that we've done training Meta on who we want goes down the drain. And Meta starts again. So a maximum of 20, you can go up to as high as 30%. I just recommend people do 20 because then it's like you won't be overzealous and put a little bit more. Maximum of 20%. Now, if in any situations your numbers are not effective, not stable, we're not getting the results that we want, and this is why I put this playbook together for you guys, there's a couple of different things that we can do. If it's not super effective and it's like, it's too high, it's not most ideal, hold your budget, but test new creative. Now, if your cost per lead is going terribly, leads are not converting, frequency is going crazy, relevance is terrible, all that sort of stuff, start again. Turn off, rebuild, start afresh. New offer and new creative, right? Because a dead campaign costs you money every single day you let it keep going. Don't try and rescue it. Start fresh, start clean again, and away you go. Otherwise, what you'll find is that you just burn through way too much money and no one has a good time. So the reason, as I said before, by 20% is if you change it, you will basically re-enter the learning phase. You're going to cause yourself a whole heap of headaches, and all of the hard work and learning that you've already put in gets reset. So if you want to test, the way to do it is you duplicate, which basically means you copy what you already had and what's already winning. Don't do it again. Like, don't just keep changing your ad sets, changing your campaigns. Duplicate, right? Never edit a winning ad set, duplicate it. Otherwise, again, you'll reset it, and what happens is everything starts afresh. It's not a good time, right? Because most of the time, it does not go back to how good it was before. Something else has changed, some other variables happened, and again, all it's going to do is give you a big bad headache. We don't want that. So ultimately, the core thing that you want to do is start chasing quality. Start looking at what are the qualifying questions that we can ask to increase the quality of lead, right? One qualified lead is worth 10 unqualified leads, right? This allows you to filter for intent, for desire. For example, what's your budget? How soon are you looking to invest? Do you own any properties? What's your biggest challenge? What are you hoping to achieve? Whatever it is that will give you the indicator on if someone is qualified, if someone is has a high level of intent to work with you, they're the questions. So I've put like 5 examples there. Try and have a minimum of 2 qualifying questions. That will help you pre-qualify and identify the intent before you have that first conversation with them. So what I want you guys to think of for the next 90 days, if we're starting afresh, if we're working through, doesn't matter either way. Number 1, first month, you want to build, right? You want to build your foundations, start generating leads. Make sure you've got your tracking installed. You've got stuff connected. You are actually starting to feed the whole loop. You're starting to get data coming in. You've got your retargeting sequences ready to go and launch. Month 2 is where you optimize. That's where you get rid of anything that's not working. You would have, hopefully by that point, a full objection handling, urgency ads, starting to be able to retarget, build that lookalike audience from your most ideal audience. Even if you're starting fresh, that'll be from your first 100 leads. If you've already got more than 100 clients in your business over all the years you've been doing it, then you would roll that out there. And you're starting to put in those qualifying questions to filter the intent. By month 3, then we'll be scaling, duplicating, testing, creating more hot audiences, putting in place your reporting so you're getting yourself up to speed with what's happening without having to log into Meta. And then that's at that point in time, you would take all of the data from the last 90 days and use that to build your next audiences. And we start again, we start stacking on that and start building more audience, optimizing and scaling. So each lot you want to basically do in a 90-day block as a minimum. That's going to be most effective for you. That's how you can have a fully systemized lead machine running in like 24/7 in the next 90 days. Now, for most of you, some of you are cool, I'm going to go and do that. Other of you guys might be like, I need a little bit of help with that as well. So knowing and implementing, as we all know, are two different things, right? The gap between knowing and doing is very, very real. You guys have now got the framework. I'm going to give you guys this playbook. You've got the NOC method, the 3 funnel stages. Ultimately, you can either go and do it yourself, which you can literally take and deploy exactly what we've just gone through. If anyone does want any help with that, we can obviously help you guys with that as well. So if you're looking to get some support, we can help you build this whole system out in the first 30, 60, 90 days. Or again, you can do it yourself. If you've already got the foundations, you might just need to take 1 or 2 of those things that I've shared with you tonight, deploy it, implement it, put it in place in your business as well. So we have a full done with you program where we can help you build all of this out. If you want to do it and you've tried before and you don't really feel like you've had the level of success that you wanted to, I said, we can help. Steve's asked me to open up some spots for you guys. If anyone does want to do it, you can book in a call with us. Our team will go through and have a little bit of a look and see if there's something we can do for you. If not, we'll give you a recommendation on what tools you need to implement for yourself as well. So either way, you'll win. You'll be able to speak with us. My team will break down exactly what you're looking for, what you need. It might just be a little bit of guidance and pushing the right way. It might be that you need the whole thing done for you. Depends on what kind of where you're at. But either way, we'll be able to help you guys with that. So what I've broken down here is exactly what you also want to do for yourself as well. Number one, and this is what we do for people. We build out their campaign. We build out the audience strategy. We go and create the creative. That's what you would do as well. You'd map out your own campaign, start to build your audience, and then go to town and putting your creative together. Like I gave you today with that 3-line framework. I told you guys the type of creative that's working. Go and create those things. We also set up CRMs, your funnel. We give you a strategy call once a week. And then we also help you put together your own custom playbook. But either way, as I said, if you're doing it with us, doing it for yourself, you want to build that same system for you. So as I said, again, like what sort of results this system brings, huge decrease in cost per lead, increasing qualified leads, appointment rates, all that sort of stuff. If that's what you want to do, as I said, even if you're running ads yourself, don't take what I've shared tonight lightly. Please go and implement it. Please go and put it in place, because what changes Meta are making over the next couple of months is going to be even worse, because they are trying to make things harder for us all to do. So if you at least have a foundation now, spend $5 a day, get a few ads going, get a couple of leads coming in on a monthly basis, because their new changes are going to make it so much harder for you to find your ideal audience and tap into them. May as well take advantage of it now. Hence why I really advocate for getting ads up and running, not because I think it's a good idea, but because I know that what they're about to release is going to make it much harder. So I said, it's obligation free. We only work with 4 new clients on this space per month. If you want to have a chat, absolutely. Book in a time. As I said, you'll be speaking to my team. No pressure. Like we're you guys are part of the Lux community, as are we. We're just here to support each other. If we can help you, awesome. If we can't help you, we'll also tell you that as well. And we'll also tell you who you should get some help with, or who you should go and see if you need to, or just like what to tweak. So I appreciate you guys all tuning in here tonight. Hopefully you guys have taken away some stuff. There was a lot in this 1 hour that we spent together. Hence why I said you guys will get the replay. You guys will get all the slides and the playbooks. And hopefully, as I said, if you want some help and want to find out how you can implement and pull this in yourself, as I said, just jump on that link and book a call and you'll be able to chat with us. But otherwise, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Monday evening. Steve, thank you so much for letting me share with the Lux crew. And guys, I appreciate you all joining in. Hopefully see you guys all at an event very soon. If you're in Perth, I'll see you when I get back from my honeymoon at one of the Lux events, and hopefully see some of you guys over in Melbourne or Sydney soon as well. And enjoy. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate it. And have a great evening. Thanks, guys.
Kim. Look forward to seeing you again on stage. See you guys. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.